Hello, and welcome to our show for the love of animals. We're so glad that you joined us today. Delilah's back. I'm Darlene Pickford.
And I'm Greg Bauer, and we'd like to tell our viewers that this is actually part two.
That's right.
Of shows that we are doing with the McCracken County Animal Control Officer, Chryss George. We'll introduce her again in just a second. But we'll tell our viewers about a couple of upcoming shows.
Okay.
One on
Hunting dogs.
Hunting dogs, and also, thank you,
You're welcome.
and also one on taking care of your pet,
Protecting
your animal, and doing the things that will make your animal safe. So, anyway, as I mentioned, Chryss George, who's the McCracken County Animal Control Officer, is with us today. And Chryss, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us and kind of educating our viewers on what you do and what the animal control situation is in
Well,
McCracken
thank you for
County.
having me.
Thank you for coming. And Delilah is...
Yes, this is Delilah.
Uh-huh.
She's one of my rescue dogs. That's mine. She's
Uh-huh.
not up for adoption.
Okay, she's not, no.
No.
I'd take her in a minute.
Absolutely.
She's my little sweetheart. She's my soul dog, I think. That once in a lifetime special connection. I've had dogs all my life, but there's something special here.
Did you know that from the minute you got her?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just grown. It's just grown. I'll tell you, she even alerts me if I'm going to have, periodically, about 2 times a year, I'll get a migraine. And she alerts me.
How does she do that?
She'll take her nose and she'll put it right here. She kind of turns her head. And if I listen to her, and I have a non-narcotic medicine, but it's really good. If I take it, I can continue doing whatever I need to do. I'm fine. No problems. But if I ignore her, I'm knocked out for 3 days with a migraine.
Did you train her or what?
No, I started putting together because it was such a rare thing. It was just really weird for her to take her nose and shove it into my forehead. It was such a rare thing, and then she's just continued and been very consistent, and it's lined up.
Oh.
Well, as a sidebar, we had a guest, our bird lady, and her bird kept saying, ouchie. Long story short, it alerted to severe skin, I think it was cancer and other problems.
Oh, wow.
And that was here. And the doctor said, there's nothing wrong. She said, look. And they went and looked again. Ma'am, you're right. How did you know?
Wow.
How could she say, my pet bird told me so?
Yeah, yeah.
So we believe in the power of animals.
Absolutely.
Speaking of animals, tell us a little bit about your fur family, Chryss.
Well, I've got Delilah, who we just went over, and then I've got Cammie.
Okay.
And I can tell you right now, Cammie's at home screaming her head off because she's without her Delilah.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh.
they're 2 very good, and they're both rescues. They're about a year apart. I got Delilah in March of '09. Was her gotcha day, and Cammie in April of 2010.
Okay.
How did you get involved with work with animals?
Well, I grew up on a ranch with horses. I rode in shows semi-professionally for many, many years until I was about 17. Started riding when I was 4. I had my own pony. My mom had horses too, and started getting lessons at the age of 4 and just kept going with it.
How did you get involved with animal control then?
It seemed like a perfect fit.
Okay.
Growing up, my uncle, who I was very close to, he was in law enforcement. My earliest memory is my grandmother rescuing a dachshund. So it's just a perfect fit.
Just a perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
And
my life is wrapped up in the animals. I don't do well if I'm not with my animals.
I understand that.
And then, how long have you been McCracken County's Animal Control Officer?
Since December of 2012.
Okay.
I have lived in the area for 13 years. I moved here, and I believe that was also March of 2000.
Okay.
Well, now, educate me. What are the overall responsibilities of the Animal Control Department here in the county?
Well, we enforce the laws that have to do with animals. We protect both the people and the animals. We make sure that the city and county ordinances are being followed as needed. And we just try to protect everyone involved.
Easier said than done.
That it is. That it is.
And if our viewers would like to refer to specifics of some of those ordinances, we refer them back to part one of this show.
Part one of our show. How many staff do you have to help you with this?
I have 2 additional. They're both full-time. That's Catherine Coleman. And then I have Joe Permley.
Okay. And so the 3 of you take care of us 24/7.
Correct.
Christmas, holidays, weekends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And some of those holidays and the 24/7, the evening part is as called in, case-by-case basis. If it's an emergency, we'll come on out.
In general, though, what are your quote your regular hours?
We're 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and
Okay.
then 7 to 5 on the weekends.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. And if our viewers had a problem or needed some information, how can they contact you?
270-444-8550, and that'll be Central Dispatch. And then they'll get in touch with us and we'll come on out.
And that number is available 24/7.
That number is available 24/7.
Okay, but you may not answer the phone.
No, we do not answer the phone on
Right.
those, no.
All right, so we want our viewers to understand that you're out in the field,
Right.
and dispatch will take your number and then dispense it out as, I'm sure, on a priority basis. Is that-
Right.
Okay.
Because sometimes, we get a call in, and then right after that we get a priority call, and we have to bump that priority
Right.
call up. And
All right, so we need to be patient, a little understanding
Right,
about the situation, because there's only 3 of you.
there's only 3 of us for all of McCracken County.
But I think the important thing for the viewers to remember is that their help is available.
Yes.
For no matter what you feel may be a problem.
And we are anxious to help.
Yes.
Well, and that is wonderful to hear
Yes.
for
Yes.
all the animals, whether they reside in the city or the county, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Well, you do, I'm sure, a lot of rescue work because you deal with cruelty cases and
Right.
neglect and all kinds of things like that, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell us about some of your interesting rescue. For example, do we have a cat rescue?
Yes, we do. We had a kitten that was born, it seemed to be born without part of its jaw. It wasn't doing too well. We gathered it up and brought it in and took it to the vet. And I mean, it didn't make it, but we made sure that everything was fine, and we just scooped it up, and it was a happy cat. It purred and everything. It was a very sweet little kitten.
So it had care to try to help, even though it didn't make it.
Yes.
I had a similar thing, help rescue. You weren't available to help at this time, but a kitten, and we took it home for 2 days, and we lost it.
Yes.
And as the vet said, it had been starved, and just food for 2 days. Its little organs.
Right.
It just didn't make it, so I understand. But at least we tried. So
Right.
now it's nice to have somebody else to help us try.
That's exactly
for
right.
cats and kittens. Okay.
And I think that's the important thing for the viewers to remember. It's awfully easy to ignore something like that.
Right.
And just think that animal could use some help.
Yes.
And
That's exactly right.
here's a place where you can find some help.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
That's right.
How about an interesting dog rescue?
Well, I would say Gus, a very old German Shepherd. He was out on the riverfront one morning, and I went out there, and he threw the leash around him. He came on to me, and we went on, and he rode shotgun with me in the truck, and he's still at the shelter available. I hope someone adopts him. He is an older dog, but he is full of love.
Oh.
And he is a little down in his hips, but doesn't get him down.
Okay. And he's right now at the McCracken
That's
County.
right now at the McCracken County Animal Shelter, which is at
And-
455 County Park Road. And that's across from juvenile detention and the soccer fields.
Okay.
Okay.
And the phone number for them?
270-448-1570.
Okay. And I'm sure Leslie Hannon, who's the director there, would love to have you come and find a home for Gus.
Yes, she
And-
would. And there's tons of great dogs there, and even more great cats.
That's right. Yeah, we would hope maybe this show, one of our viewers will call and go take a look at this dog, and maybe he'll find a good home.
Absolutely, that would be great.
I think so too.
Okay. Well, we're need to take a break for a
Okay.
moment now for a real interesting story. And part of that interesting story is the fact that this particular animal is here with us today. This is a story about Delilah.
So listen to this happy tale.
You'll enjoy it.
Delilah is a 5-year-old mixed breed. She loves to play at the dog park and take long rides with her owner, Chryss. Delilah is also a greeter at the Paducah Dog Park and loves to meet new people and dogs. She knows quite a few tricks, and her favorite is to bow. She's a very spoiled, lovely lady.
Welcome back. We're visiting this afternoon with Chryss George, who's the McCracken County Animal Control Officer, and she's been giving us some very interesting little stories about specific cases. Do you have a horse story, for example?
I do. I had a call from dispatch, and we went out, and there was a couple of neglected horses at this location. Made the decision to go ahead and seek charges and bring them on in, and they have been flourishing under our care.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And sent under your care, you mean you have to feed them and clean the stalls and?
Yes, myself and my department, we do. The 2 other officers that work more the evening shifts do a fantastic job cleaning those stalls for those horses, and we've all fallen in love with both of them.
Well, having grown up on a farm with horses, I know what that is like.
Yes, it's not a fun job. I try to help them out by touching it up a little bit in the mornings, so it's not so bad in those evenings for them.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of effort and energy and time and money
Yes.
to take care of horses. I mean, cats and dogs are expensive enough these days,
Right.
but a horse in particular.
Right.
Now, when it comes to rescue now, you do not rescue wildlife, is this correct?
This is correct.
Okay,
We don't
would you-
have the proper licenses and everything for wildlife. You have to have licenses to transport, et cetera. We don't.
Okay, and to treat raccoons and owls and,
Possums and
Yeah, we recommend a rehabber for that.
yeah,
Okay.
it has to be somebody who really is trained.
Right.
and that comes under the auspices of Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, then,
Right,
doesn't
Right.
it?
Right.
How about deer?
We have in the past, but we try not to do deer very often either, because still that's considered wildlife.
Okay. How about pigs and cows and
Pigs, cows, that's all us.
Except that
goats?
Yes.
except that if you find one of them in the city, then there's a problem, because
well,
you can't
yeah,
have
you-
those
right.
animals in the city.
That's right.
Only in the county.
Right.
Well, in general, in the city and the county, like most counties, we would say there are too many dogs and there's too many cats, right?
We have quite a few at the shelter. They're desperately needing homes. I know Leslie Hannon would love for us to have some adoptions right now.
Yes, right. And as
And
kitty
Leslie Hannon's our shelter director.
Yes.
and as puppies and kitty season, and you go and rescue, say, 1 or 2 litters of kittens, you're back up there again,
Right.
full. So a good shelter is part of the problem, and good animal control is a part of the problem. But there's another solution
Right.
to this, and you were telling me about TNR. Would you explain that to our viewers?
That would be our trap, spay, neuter, and then release. You have to. We are applying for some grants for this, where we go out and we trap cats, because at this point there's no ordinance and we don't pick them up.
Right.
They're considered a free at large animal.
Unless they are, quote, a severe nuisance of some kind.
Well, right.
And I haven't heard
and-
of any cat attacks lately.
No, right. And
They'll
so-
hide from you.
Exactly. So, and then when you have these programs that some of these grants are offering us, where we go out, trap them, spay, neuter them, and then turn around and release them, we have to release them in the same location we trap them.
Right.
So, but we are working for this. As we know, this does not fix our problem today, but it does in the future,
Right.
down the road.
All right. And when you trap them, you mean you go out and in a humane trap,
In a humane trap.
right?
that
And it doesn't
has-
hurt the animal. It doesn't hurt its
No,
claws.
no. It's a trap. They go in for the food, and the door closes. The worst that happens is they become anxious. But as a feral cat, we'd never get our hands on them in any other way.
But once they're in the trap, and particularly if there's a tarp over it, you can take it to the vet. It can be checked out. It can be spayed or neutered.
Correct.
This is what happened with our Woody. I've never seen such a wild animal in my life. And then at the vet, they called me, "Come get this animal." And I was so surprised, But that animal was caught, it was fearful. It didn't know what was going to happen.
Yes.
And if you'd put me in a box like that, I'm semi-claustrophobic, I'd probably been worse than a feral cat. So.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway, so you would trap the animal and fix it and then release it back.
Right.
I understand that an outside cat in general has a lifespan of 3 to 5 years. An indoor cat can last 15 to 20 years. So there's a big difference there.
And of course, I mean, you know, they're subject to the predator-prey situation out there.
Oh yes, they have a lot of enemies. There's snakes, there's hawks, coyotes,
Dogs.
possums, yes,
Dogs.
and in the cities, the cars.
Right.
The cars. So I know some people would say, well, we can't have any outside cats. Well, I'm going to put a plug in for Mother Nature is pretty smart. If you research it, cats have long been a protector of the food supply, and if you didn't have cats around, you couldn't protect the food supply because the rats would take over. Okay, that's why Egypt flourished as a nation, is because it could protect the food supply and starve off famine. Another thing, you need outside cats. If we were to have the bird flu, those cats are a barrier between you and disease. So for any opponent who wants to get rid of all outside cats, go to resources like the Planet book and find out that there is a balance of nature for some outdoor cats, and that's why we need to reduce the amount of cats outside, but there is a place for them in our ecological system. It really is. Yes, Greg?
No, you said it very well.
Okay, well see, I'm a cat lover and I'm a dog lover. Okay?
Yes, as we both are.
Yes, okay. All right. As far as dogs, if dogs are in packs, that's not a good problem. And we have too many puppies out there. What can we do about that? The trap, neuter, and return basically applies to the cats, right? Okay. How about dogs?
Dogs, we don't have a big pack problem.
Well, that's good.
In McCracken County. When we do, usually there's a female in heat, and we try to take care of that. But some of our laws and ordinances apply to that too. If you have a female dog in heat, that needs to be taken care of with them being inside.
Yes.
And not trying to bring the packs of males. But we really don't have a big problem with that. I think we're doing a good job with keeping the dogs under containment and on our own property. That it's working out really well.
But if we were to have a low-cost spay-neuter for both cats and dogs, do you think that would be helpful?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Because that is the real solution to overcrowding in shelters and too many unwanted pets, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The most wonderful thing that could happen is we close all shelters. There's no need for them.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be great.
And
But
now
that's not
going to happen. We'll always probably need a shelter, but they can get overrun so quickly, Greg. It doesn't take 4 litters of puppies and 3 litters of cats, and those poor people have got more animals than they can take care of and find homes for. So low-cost spay-neuter and trap, neuter, and release are 2 programs that I'm glad to know that animal control is really seriously considering.
Well, and the one thing I'll add to that is that with the overcrowding of our shelters and so on, anyone who would like to have an animal as a companion, a dog or a cat, investigate the shelters.
Yes.
Because they have animals that would just love to have forever homes.
Yeah. Now, you said Delilah was a
Delilah, she was a rescue. She came from a local shelter. She's
special.
Right. These 2 stories I was telling you about, are her. They're what she does. And that's your shelter dog.
Yeah, that they can be so special.
Yes.
Well, we want to take a quick short break
Already?
now. Yes,
Oh,
I know.
wow.
This is a happy tale about Twiggy. And I think you'll be real interested in this. I know Chris will want to add a few things because this is a very special case to her. So give a listen about Twiggy.
Twiggy was Chris's first cruelty case. When Chris arrived and saw that Twiggy was far too thin, She sees Twiggy along with 6 other dogs. Twiggy immediately started gaining weight, and her personality is so wonderful. She soon flourished. Her story shows what an animal rescue can become. Twiggy loves her new family. Her new family also says that they wouldn't take anything in the world for her. She has her own play area inside and outside, along with children and 2 small playmate dogs that she absolutely loves.
Welcome back. We know you enjoyed that little story about Twiggy. And Chris, was maybe something you'd like to add to that little story?
Yes, Twiggy came in. You could count every bone. She couldn't even pull her head up.
Oh, my
She was
word.
so weak. There were people there that they were convinced she was going to pass away. But a little bit of food and a little bit of love, she has absolutely flourished. She's gone on to her forever home.
Aw.
And they said to me, quote unquote, they would not take $1 million for her. So
Oh, that's
she-
wonderful.
she's in a great forever home.
Oh, that's a wonderful story.
Wish we had 20,000 more just like stories like that one, right?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to remind our viewers that you can see our shows if you don't have Channel 2. People say, well, I don't have the cable. Well, we have that taken care
You
of
can
for you.
still see us.
Yes. If you go to YouTube, and we know everybody in the world goes to YouTube, and if you do a search on Love of Animals Paducah, you'll find past shows that we've done there. And also, yes, we're on Facebook. Drives me crazy, but we're on Facebook. And if you search for Paducah 2, you'll find shows there also. So there are several different ways that you can see the show, just in case you don't have cable. So.
And we'd like to remind our viewers of contact phone numbers. So, Chris, how can people contact Animal Control?
They can contact Animal Control by 270-444-8550.
And if
That-
I want to adopt an animal or help the shelter or donate or volunteer, how can I contact the animal shelter?
You can contact them by calling Leslie Hannon, who's the shelter director, at 270-448-1570.
And they are located?
At 455 County Park Road, which is across from the soccer fields and across from juvenile detention.
And we are real proud of this very fine facility and the good care and vet care that the animals are now receiving,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And we might also mention that there are 2 or 3 other shelters in the area where people can also find animals. So there's a big need for
Yes.
you all to go out and bring home an animal that is just waiting to have a
Select
happy
you.
life with you.
And I will
Absolutely.
say that with us having a large number, that if you ever need to donate anything, if you have old crates or food, we feed a certain brand from Tractor Supply called Retriever brand. It's in a green bag, mini chunks.
Okay.
I know that Leslie would love to have some of that donated.
What, no, repeat from,
It's a Retriever brand
okay.
from Tractor Supply, and
Yes.
it's called mini chunks, and it's in a green bag.
Okay.
It's a dry food.
A dry food.
And because we try to feed them all the same thing.
Yes.
Because we don't want upset tummies.
understand.
So she does a great job with that. But right now with so many animals,
And
and
I'm sure
spring has sprung.
kitty food and puppy chow would also be appreciated
Yes,
too.
yes. Anything that you can donate, crates, anything, leashes, collars, bleach.
Yourself,
Yes.
time.
Yes,
Money.
that's the best part. If you can donate yourself and time, we've got a very wonderful group of volunteers that I know that Leslie loves having.
And cat litter and cat food too.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Because that's a 24/7.
Yes, it is.
And Thanksgiving and holidays.
Yes,
so.
it is.
You were telling me, or we were talking about the situation where I'm suspicious, or I think an animal's not being fed, or it's out in the heat, or it looks like it's being neglected, but I'm not sure. What should I do?
And we're often not sure because we can't watch one place
Right.
24/7.
Right.
But you can contact us, and again, that's the 270-444-8550 with Central Dispatch, and they'll get you in touch with us, and we will do what's called a welfare check. We'll go and make sure that everything's being followed correctly and that the dog or cat or whatever animals appear to be in good physical condition.
Okay. Now, all right. You come and you knock at my door.
Right.
What would you say as you would come to my door? Somebody has since you want a welfare check to
Right.
our house.
And I would explain, you know, hey, I'm here to do a welfare check. I'd like, you know, and of course I don't say it, but I would like for it
Who
to be as
sent you?
painless as possible. Well, we don't divulge who
Okay.
sends us. But we hope that you as an animal lover appreciate the fact that we're doing our job.
That's right.
And most of the time, and hopefully we don't find anything really wrong.
Or something that's easily corrected.
Right, exactly. Just a little education goes a long way. 'Cause
Yes, it
sometimes
does.
people just don't know, or it's their first time having an animal.
Oh,
And we would much prefer educate.
yeah. And you know, there's something to being a good neighbor. If there is a problem with an outdoor cat or your neighbor's dog barking,
Right.
this old good neighbor policy of talking with your neighbor, you know,
Goes a
could
long way.
many times solve a problem.
Yes.
And if your cat is digging, if my cat is digging in your yard, chicken wire down there would solve that problem. Of course, our cats are indoors.
Right.
Our
And
personal ones.
we do a cat check every night, and if they're not there, we go and find them.
Oh, good, good.
But one of our cats might call you and say, I'm not getting the care that I think I should have. I'm joking, of course, about that. Chryss, as we come to a close on this program, what one point or two would you like our viewers to remember about animal control and what you do?
Please do call us if you suspect anything. Absolutely, at that 270-444-8550.
Okay.
Occasionally, when you call, we take priority cases first. And if you call and a priority case comes right after you, we may have to take that first, so please just be patient with us. We will get there as quick as possible.
Okay, but you do make house calls.
Yes, we definitely make house calls.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and we certainly, as citizens, appreciate the good work that you're doing, and particularly you know, it's all for the animals.
Right,
It's all for the animals, so it is very much appreciated, at least by the two sitting here, right, Greg?
Well, yes, and I know a lot of other
And a lot of other
our
people's out there
viewers also.
too.
And I think that our viewers this afternoon have gotten a real good idea
Oh,
of
absolutely.
what goes on with animal control. It's not a,
It's not an easy.
well, no, it's not easy, but what I'm saying, it is not a, well, what's the word I want to use? It's not a adversarial kind of thing.
It's one to assist you.
Yes.
And it's one to keep you and your animals safe.
Absolutely. And Chryss, we would like to thank you so much for joining us today and giving us all
Thank you
kinds
so
of
much.
wonderful information. And we know our viewers will benefit from having seen that. And
Thank you for bringing
Thank you.
Delilah.
Yes.
And I think she enjoyed it.
Well, she'd come and visit me during this show, so I guess it's okay.
So, and unfortunately, we're out of time,
Oh,
Darlene.
yes. Yeah,
It passes so quickly.
It passes so quickly, doesn't it, Greg?
Yes. And so, in closing,
I'm Darlene.
I'm Greg, and we want to remind our viewers what we tell you every time. Give your pet a little extra
Extra love today and every day.
See you next time.
Goodbye.